Oh, hello, and welcome to Aldente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have the one we've all been waiting for, for a couple of weeks. Numbers Like Stories Never Die. So, Numbers Like Stories Never Die is by Captain Kirby on SCP.wiki. And it is the tale that we were talking about a little ways back. In fact, I think actually December 16th, in fact, where we were talking about SCP-3379, and more importantly, D11424, the best D class. So this story is apparently talking about the legend of D11424. So yeah, we had to discuss it. we had to read it and discuss it.
Of course.
I was a little surprised by it, but we'll get into that. So going to start off with the rundown as always. So if you want to check this out beforehand, you can go to scp.wiki and honestly just type in, or honestly just Google numbers, like stories, never die, and then maybe put in like SCP if you for extra specificity for better clarity.
Specificity?
It's hard, right?
I don't say that word, so it's like
I know.
Specificity?
Specific.
Mikey, what is it?
Like
Does he not even
specify,
know?
right?
He doesn't know either.
Yeah. Okay. For better clarity.
Yeah, I'm literally Googling this now because it's bothering me.
Of course.
You must know.
Okay, do you want me to hold off then before we do the rundown?
Google says it's specificity.
Specificity? Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, specificity. Yeah, okay. It's just
I don't know
a
if
hard word because it's got all the... Yeah.
I don't know if the Google bot is coming through me hitting the button saying how to pronounce it. If it's coming through the chat or not. Okay, good.
It's not.
Either way.
Yeah.
We learned a thing.
Yay! Even before the episode even started, we learned the thing. Folks, we are not professionals. We're students like you.
You should use that word very loosely, the professional word.
Yeah. We are professional amateurs.
Yes. That's better.
There we go, yeah. Just like we're also always critically silly.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, back to the rundown. So, we get the 3 rules of D-Class. Do as you're told, curfew is at 8 p.m., and you cannot use your real name. And that's what Jamie was told during her induction as D-Class. She's now D11424? Ooh.
Yes.
As she is brought in with a bunch of others to the D-Class holding facility, she goes into the cafeteria for some dinner before being assigned to her bunk. After grabbing some food and sitting down, she starts talking with fellow D-Class members who, upon hearing her number, are surprised to hear that the former D11424 is gone, dead or worse. Aww. And that the Foundation has recycled the number already. It's been maybe a week since anybody heard from D11424, the previous owner of that number. They then proceed to recall multiple stories of D11424 and his exploits, as he was a legend among the Foundation in the D-Class. As she hears these stories, the weight of the legend of the number she has inherited gives D11424 some unease, even as she is shown her cell after dinner and all that stuff. Just as she puts her head down on the pillow, there is a crinkling sound that she hears, and it's from a letter that is addressed to her underneath the pillow. Or to her, as in the new bearer of D11424, from the former D11424. In the letter, he addresses the situation of his legend and the reputation of D11424 as a number designation, stating it was plain good luck that kept him alive all these times. Like all of those like ridiculous number of tests that he went through and survived. And even confesses some regrets for his life and reveals his name, like his true name, Tony Marquez. The letter then ends with some words of encouragement to the next D11424. Our current D11424 folds up the letter back up and puts it underneath the mattress for safekeeping. Jamie Greenston goes to sleep that night, thanking Tony, comforted by the words of her D-class precursor, Finn. And the reason I didn't go into any of the stories is because we're going to cover those in my actual thoughts.
Yeah, I figured.
So, yeah, there are definitely some stories from D11424 that the other D class have come up with or have like forward that are pretty interesting. But yeah, that's basically the rundown for numbers like stories never die. And now we shall move on to everyone tolerates the Grammar Inquisitions at this point. Because I have a few. Not a lot. There's like 2 that I picked up anyway. So I'll start with this one. So the 2 of us were assigned to explore something up in the Arctic. So something should be one word.
I disagree.
Really?
Because
should be some things.
There's something up there. There's a thing up there. That's the way I read it.
I still feel like it would be like something. Because they're exploring something.
No, it's a thing up there that they're getting at, that they're exploring though, right?
But can't you also use something for that kind of thing when you're like, because they like, I don't know, something or other. Like that's one word when you're using it in that context.
You're not wrong, but you're also not right. And neither am
awesome. I love it.
It's one of those situations, in my opinion. No one.
I hate the English language.
Everyone
there,
loses.
I've set our quota for the day for the week.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fuck. All right. Well. Okay, that's fair.
I might be wrong. I'm probably wrong, but that's fine.
Yeah, you're allowed to be wrong.
Yeah.
It's your God's given opinion. Moving on to the next one. She noticed the cleanliness of the floor, the fluorescent lights overhead, and bespectacled scientists in hang on, I gotta do this again. The bespectacled scientists exchanging clipboards down the hallway. So, again, this is a similar situation to the last one that we did. Clipboards and hallways should be one word respectively. Like clipboards is one word, hallways is one word.
Oh, I wasn't aware. I didn't catch that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my grammar inquisition, honestly. So, Mikey, these stands for evil.
I have a conjunction junction.
Ooh. And next stop, conjunction junction. Doot, doot.
But she didn't want to feel too left out of the conversation, so she headed over to D3114. It was about 7:45. But when her head hit the pillow, she heard a crinkling noise. It was addressed to her. It did so even before I got here. It was a Keter class. So I walked in there, expecting to be ripped apart or eaten or something. And you know what happened? So I just nodded as they made up the stories themselves. But I'm no hero. And if you're reading this, I used up every ounce of fortune's favor. But then again, that number carries a lot of stigma. It makes me sound so flat. But they have to use it so you can disappear into the crowd with the rest of us. But that's still not who I want to be. Finn.
I'm going to counter you
Wow.
on most of those.
Dialogue because
Oh,
it's in the
Because
written
dialogue,
letter.
and how dare you like try and besmirch the good name of D11424 with your grammar acquisition, sir.
He is never wrong. He is always right.
It's the way D11424 writes a letter.
Also, he should learn how to write better, honestly.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
But yes.
Mhm.
And Mikey does these little readings because there's words that you can start sentences with that are better than its, ands, or buts. So he lists them all off to quickly go over all the ones that should be started with a more betterer word.
Yeah, like the one specifically, like it's it was 7 something something, like the time. Like you could say the time was blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I use a but at the beginning of my words.
It's fine. And we can continue now.
Okay, Mikey, do you have anything else?
Is that all the bad ones?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I mean the its, ands, or buts that we started sentences with jokingly.
I don't know.
But that's into my grammar inquisition.
All right. My gamer.
I go.
Yes.
I have none.
Okay, cool. On to actual thoughts then. So I'm going to start with this quote here. What do you mean up for recycling? Like the previous 11424 going out of commission, they reuse the designation. So when they die. Don't be so close-minded, a woman said as she sat down next to D5040. There are plenty worse ways to end up here than dead. To that, I'm just like, oof. Cold, hard truths of being D-class.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Also, really interesting. I figured this story would be another escapade of D11424, like the one from Tony Marquez, like SCP-3379, like from the Arctic meat hole of Infinite Wonder.
Awesome.
It's just such a good name too. But yeah, as I was reading this, it seems more like it's about like the legend of the number designation, and sort of it sort of reminded me, and maybe it's because I've been hailing Playlo. I've been playing Halo. I've been playing Halo Infinite lately, but like it kind of reminded me of the original thing that surrounded like the Spartans of Halo, where like they weren't considered ever killed in action, even if they were in fact dead, but only MIA or missing in action because Spartans never die. And like it was like a means for morale of the Marines, but also a boost. Like it was supposed to like boost up the legend of the Spartans and instill fear in their enemies and hope in the Marines, like in their fellow soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was just, it may not be exactly like similar, but it was like that kind of vibe I was kind of getting.
Yeah,
we
read that right from the get-go. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You were not alone in that.
Excellent. Then I'm going to move on to the next one. Wait. What's so special about this guy? 11424 was, well, he was a legend. I think he got called in for like 1,000 tests or something. I thought the count landed around 1,300, D5040 said after some mental math. Yeah, something like that, D3114 continued. Stuck around since the 80s. Late 70s sounds closer. Right. Thanks to 2312.
Do these guys not like rounding? Like
No, he doesn't. They like us. They like being pedantic. It's like, actually, it was this. I'm going to correct you every time.
Or they're just all about specificity.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is the word of the day.
Exactly, yes. Right, thanks 2312. Either way, dude managed to survive all of that. almost all of that, got the official nickname 68 Screw You because he was pretty much indestructible. I hear he choked out a zombie once, D2312 added. Fuck. Like, this is me comment. It's like, fuck. Well, that, yeah, and he lasted until like the 70s? Like, because I'm guessing this is like in like around the present day. Like, damn, he held on long. Yeah, we don't really have, he held on long. Also, it's like, I kind of want to know about this nickname of his. Like, where'd it come from? What?
It goes into it.
Oh, does he?
Did you catch that?
Oh, fuck. Okay, and I'm about to go into the next thing here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's in my next one, actually. Yeah, I was like wondering, like, why the hell is he called 68 Screw You? And then it goes into this quote here. You know when he actually got his nickname?
How did you not catch that?
I don't know. I was too preoccupied, like, getting the quote for another reason.
Were you like reading it at like 3:00 in the morning or something?
No, I really
like,
wasn't. It was like
idiot.
I know, right? What imbecile would do that? Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
But yeah, hey, I'll go to it. You know when he actually got his nickname? One time, 682 broke out of its acid vat, while 11424 was on transport duty. Before the lizard could regenerate, our boy clocked him in the face. But yeah, so SCP-682 is another one of those SCPs I've heard about, and I've like seen the associated photo, which is basically just like somebody took a decomposed, I think, like elephant or like some kind of like creature the way it had decomposed, it kind of looked like a reptilian monster, with its skull like exposed and stuff like that, and then they made an SCP out of it. But I've never sat down and actually read the entry, so I'm just going to file that one away for a later date. Also interesting to note, this story doesn't use links when it references some of the SCPs that encountered D11424.
Which is kind of nice.
It's kind of nice. It also, and I'd be a little concerned because, like, oh, well, we don't have a link to go to those SCPs and look it up. However, we don't need to because the story basically gives us the basic necessities, like for context within the story itself. So, like we know it's a lizard creature of some kind that can regenerate, and it was in an acid vat to stop it from regenerating. And before it could regenerate, our boy clocked it in the nose.
Not like a Wolverine situation, like he has to be constantly damaged, otherwise he it generates back.
I think that's why I think like he has such a high healing factor that like every time, like that's why they have it in an acid vat, is so that his healing factor will be like placated or be like sort of like zero sum sort of situation.
He'll negate it out,
yeah. But that was one of the encounters of D11424, the exploits of D11424. Next one here, that's nothing. You hear about what happened when he got sent to the underwater site? Underwater site? D11424 asked. Yeah, the one where they keep 76. Oh no, Fallout 76 or Fallout 76. That's where they keep the original copy.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's where they keep 76. He was there one of the times when the demon himself woke up. And you know what 11424 did? He shot it. D5040, you guessed. No, he fucking arm wrestled it and won. Coffin Boy was so ashamed, he recontained himself for 6 months or something.
Wow.
And I'm just like, I'm just going to add SCP-76 to our roster again. Like another SCP to add to the roster. I did take a look at it because I was curious because so it's subtitled Able. And from what I like gleaned, it's about a guy in a stone box at the bottom of the ocean.
Okay.
So
sure
might be a demon. Might be like a demon in the box. But yeah, like this one in particular just seemed badass. It's like this is like we're entering some Joey Fucknuts territory.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Like just awesomely badass. The Ballad of 11424. And then on to the next one here. 68 Screw You was first one. Oh, okay. I found a typo actually. Oh no, found a grammar inquisition. So it should say like 6-8 screw you was the first one ferried out to whatever this thing was. Whatever this thing was. And when he came back, we were all told we could leave. Of course, the others swarmed the guy and asked him about it. Told a big story about giant walruses and Vikings. And I was just like, that's a nice callback to SCP-3379.
It's one we actually know.
Yeah. So yeah, that one I don't have to put to the roster because we've already done it.
Mm-hmm.
And then on to my next one here. And actually, this is like shortly right after like they're talking about like that instance of like the walruses and the Vikings. But anyway, during the drive back to the airstrip, the caravan got ambushed. Don't know anything or don't know who did it. Never told us. I'm just like, oh shit, the story of SCP-3379 continues. and I was like, it's the walrus mob. They found out he was still alive.
Yeah.
But seriously, like I kind of like the fact that we actually got a little bit extra like context, like a little bit extra continuity to that entry, and like what happened after, like on their return trip, like on their return from the Arctic meat hole of Infinite Wonder, like something happened en route back to the airstrip. And like to me, like it could be that maybe it was a group of what do they call it? It's like a group of. It's a GOI. It's a group of. What the hell is it? What's the I?
Interest?
Yeah. It was. Yeah, it could have been a group of interest of some kind, like that's antagonistic to the SCP Foundation, because there are a couple of those that have been sort of like hinted at, in various other SCPs, or it could honestly just be like a mundane criminal group that attempted to raid some trucks out in the Russian wilderness. Like. It's interesting that like they just on their way back to the airbase they got attacked by a group of like raiders, and their driver got shot, and 11424 just picked up the gun and started like shooting out the window like at the enemy. He's a goddamn action hero.
Yeah, it gave me like flashbacks to like Iron Man 1.
Yeah,
just, like driving around, then all of a sudden, bam! Except instead of just hiding, he actually grabbed a gun and started shooting.
Yeah, it's more like the What If world where.
Sorry, the guy telling the story was Tony Stark.
Yes, yeah,
because he was not.
And one of the Marines survived that encounter.
Yes,
because and that was SCP-1144.
I mean, he is an SCP at this point.
Oh my god, yeah. What if he just became an SCP? That'd be terrifying. But yeah, that's just that. It was, again, just kind of showing more of the legend of D11424. So, and my next one here, I got warnings from everyone that 11424 was cursed. Apparently, the last 5 guys didn't last a week. Made me scared as all hell when I first got called for testing. They were at least kinda right about the curse. It was Keter class, so I walked in there expecting to be ripped apart, eaten, or something worse. And you know what happened? They gave me a fucking cake and told me to eat it. That was it. So I love this entry. Like I love this. Yeah. This is like from the letter that he's giving to the new 11424. And yeah, I just love this. Like, this is like, they gave me a fucking cake. It was a Keter class cake. And like, yeah, I was curious what Keter class SCP is a cake. So I looked it up and found it. It's SCP-871, the self-replacing cake.
Yeah, every 4
hours. No, did we?
Yeah,
we talked about it. I don't know.
No, we talked about it because it was based because it was stemmed from the that creepy pinata.
Oh,
that
I know it so well. I thought we actually talked about it.
No, I don't think we actually did that one. No.
Oh, it's the one where like you eat a cake and then it makes a second cake, but if you don't eat the cake, then something bad happens.
I think maybe we covered it during our talk of the pinata SCP.
I don't know. Maybe
I'll have to look it back. So I'm gonna move on to my next one though. It gets a little bit more somber in this one here. Maybe you'll remember me as Tony, as a country boy from Kansas with a mom who worked and a dad who worked harder. I mean, maybe my daughter will remember me as a dad who wasn't home. But that's still not who I want to be. I was a father for a time, a carpenter for longer, built a few chairs, a desk, even made my mom a new nightstand. Yeah, that actually sounds good. Carpentry feels like a very human thing to be remembered by. So first off, it's like, it also feels like a little bit more, a little bit like Jesus posing, like wanting to be a carpenter. He kind of is the D-class Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah, that's his SCP. Yeah, he's Jesus. D's nuts, am I right?
Oh.
I got you from that last time you did that, you asshole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's like the one time I've ever done a D's nuts joke, not just on recording, just in general.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Anyway, moving on. So also maybe. Yeah. So as he's like talking, he's like, maybe remember me for this, remember me for that, and so maybe don't remember me for the countless crimes and murders I've committed that got me in this situation to start.
Yeah.
Because like a sick, dark part of me wanted it to read, I was a father for a time before I killed my family.
Wow.
Like that's the one thing that I think this story is kind of missing is some kind of note or even hint. No. Like some kind of damn it. No, but like some kind of like hint or note, or like anecdote as to how these folks ended up as D-class in the first place. Like, is new D11424 Jamie actually some kind of like serial killer, or is she like a low-end felon? Because she's like, D-class are generally criminals, hence why they can be used as fucking test subjects for this for these tests that the Foundation uses, right? Or is the Foundation just like plucking like random criminals who aren't on death row,
like homeless people or something like that?
Yeah, like is this sort of like, this has the potential to like kind of like almost like to definitely like shed some, either like give us some light of like, oh yeah, like remember these guys are criminals, or like people who have like done like really bad shit, and why they are D-class is because like they have no chance at like being rehabilitated or like being sent somewhere else. Or is the Foundation like actually sinister and cold, like hearted, like corporation sort of style, where they're just taking these like random homeless people or like people in prison that don't actually that could get out on like because it was like what they did was minor or whatever, but they're being used as like basically just like red shirts for the slaughter. Yeah, it's something that I kept forgetting while reading this story. It's like, oh yeah, these people are probably all criminals in some capacity.
Yeah,
like
not...
this is sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say, yeah, they're probably not nice people, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, it's also kind of honestly, while reading this, I kind of got a vibe of like a prison story to a degree. Yeah. Like this very much felt like a prison story. And actually, I think I'm going to go into that in the next quote here, or with the next quote as well. So, sorry I've left you with this stigma. You'll probably fight through it, though. Us D-class are tough like that. Good luck. I'm rooting for you on the other side. Tony Marquez, because that's my fucking name. D11424 smiled a little before folding the paper again and shoving it under the mattress for safekeeping. She crawled into bed and fell asleep. Thanks, Tony. Jamie Greenston really appreciates it. I'm just like, after like reading this story, I was like, wow, this story got so damn wholesome and melancholy at the end.
Yeah.
Like, and I love it because it tells the D-class side of of things again. Like we're getting more built. Like I think for me, gone are the days where I actually I actually now I'm starting to care more about D-class. And like again,
anymore.
They're not expendable. They have life to live.
Yes.
Anybody who hasn't checked it out should check out the Expendable, or I think it's Rambo the musical.
Yes.
So it's on YouTube by John Kaplan and Al Kaplan.
Really sound like you're about to say John Claude.
And I think the YouTube channel itself is called Lego Lambs. And yeah, they do like a bunch of musicals, like RoboCop the musical, Conan the Barbarian the musical, The Expendables the musical.
Yes.
The Expendables,
The Expendables.
Yeah. But yeah, like, and I just like, I went into this expecting to read about the exploits of an awesome D class, and I got some of that for sure. But then I got a very human story about the, and I do in quotes, test dummies this bureaucratic R&D hellscape uses on the regular, and like en masse, to like brute force study things beyond human understanding and literal monsters. Like, I dare say I almost got a little teary eyed at the end, like reading this letter. It's and like I said earlier, it's almost like a prison movie, like, which is how this should be like treated, because D class are in prison.
Yes.
So it's kind of like it kind of reminded me of like the Shawshank Redemption or something like along those lines, as a prison movie. Maybe mixed in with a little bit of Con Air because of like how badass Tony is in this. Like, now I'm just picturing a Hispanic Nick Cage from Con Air.
It's pretty accurate, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's my actual thoughts. I was kind of floored by the end. It's like, because it's like, we got some cool exploits, but we also got like a little bit of like a very human story out of this SCP story. So, but I will relinquish my spotlight onto Mikey and your actual thoughts.
All right. So I don't have much on this. This sort of seems like it's the story you're supposed to read after you've read all the other references, so that you go, "Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, I remember that."
Yeah, you're not wrong. Although it could be used as a primer for all those other stories as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But please continue.
So, what I'm saying is that this might be more enjoyable once you've read all the other stories. Then you come back to it and be all like, "Oh yeah, that's a funny reference there," type thing. Like,
Yeah,
because there's things that just zoom past you if you don't know the reference.
Like, I am curious if the author just like made a hand wave of like he choked out a zombie. Like, what zombie? Was it one of the boneheads of Vulture Gulch?
Oh, hope not.
Did he choke out? Wait, did he choke? Hang on. Did he choke out Joey Fucknuts?
If he did, I all of a sudden hate him.
Oh my god! Wait, remember when like we last left off Joey Fucknuts?
Don't do this?
The SCP Foundation was had surrounded their plane, and he was going out to talk to them. Did they send out D11424?
Probably.
Is this a King Kong? Is this a King Kong versus Godzilla scenario?
God damn it!
Who am I supposed to root for? Who am I supposed to root for?
Well, I mean, Joey Fucknuts, of course.
Oh yes, clearly. I love D11424, but Joey Fucknuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I can get you. Like, I think you could do either or, but like, yeah. This would definitely help. Like, I knew vaguely. I recalled 68 or was it 686? I can't remember. It was so long ago. It was like 5 minutes ago.
Is that the toxic zombie?
Yeah, no, it was the acid bath guy.
Yeah, it's 68 something. Yeah.
Yeah, 682.
682? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I vaguely knew of 682, but I didn't know what 76 was. And like again, the zombie or the zombie he choked out. Like I don't know what those ones are. And I had to like Google like a cake SCP to find out a Keter cake SCP.
Cake SCP, yeah.
Hey man, like there are definitely sillier things in SCP.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could go either or honestly with that. So.
And then my next actual thought is, what if the note actually is partially a memetic virus? Because of the fact that at the beginning of the SCP it says you cannot use your real name. So by the note giving off a real name.
Oh. The transfer of one. So like.
What are you saying?
Yeah, what are you saying there?
Yeah, I'm thinking, so basically it transfers the mantle of D11424 to the Jamie Greenston.
Oh god,
domino-like lucky superpower?
Yeah.
Yeah, or so like, wait, is that actually how that works?
That's what domino superpower is, yeah.
But like her mantle has been like switched over to like different people?
Domino, no.
Okay.
Her domino superpower is she's lucky.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure, yeah. I was thinking more like, so like she says at the end like she reads Tony Marquez, like that's his name and stuff like that, and then she thanks Tony after putting the letter, like folding the letter back up and putting it under the mattress. Jamie Greenston really appreciates it. So now like, and she never touched that letter again. And then like she becomes like the next really lucky one. And then eventually, like the luck runs out, and she dies. And then D1142 passes on to a new person. Then they find the letter, and it's actually not like and it's not Tony Marquez that signs off on it. It's Jamie Greenston's name.
Yeah,
like that's what like suddenly magically appears on the letter. That's what like magically replaces Tony Marquez's name on the letter.
Oh,
so
I meant like she just wrote a new letter. Like,
yeah,
no,
she
would write her with her name.
No. I'm saying the letter itself is like much like how Mikey I think is suggesting, is that this is actually an SCP artifact itself that is basically like the contract of D11424.
Oh, but they're keeping it on the DL just so
Or-
they can keep using him.
Or maybe the Foundation doesn't even fucking know about it. Like
Maybe.
they're compromised.
And they don't even know.
Yeah, much like the one facility where like they're doing fine work here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an interesting. That isn't a very interesting proposition there you presented there, Mikey. I appreciate that actually. Because again, we keep like he does kind of like D11424 did kind of have some like SCP level status of like. This man can. This test subject cannot be killed, and like we don't know what happened to him. He just disappeared for a week, like for about a week or so. Enough time passed where like the Foundation was like, well, I guess we should recycle the name or we should recycle the number.
That's something I don't understand.
Yeah,
why? Like, why do they need to recycle numbers? Numbers are infinite. They could just keep adding numbers. What's the whole point of that?
Maybe they. I mean, yeah, they have like 11424.
Yeah.
Like 11,424.
How many current D class are alive? And like, why is there a limit on the number?
That is ridiculous. If they have that many, like if they have, and there's more because like there was a 11425 and a 11426 and a 11427 in her cell, like with her.
Mm-hmm.
So like
that wasn't the end of the hallway.
No, odds are, like so, like
probably wasn't even the top floor.
How big is this fucking facility, and how many? Yeah, like do they have just like 250,000 people, like as a test subjects?
Like it.
I don't think there's that many. I mean, I don't even think there's that. That seems like a pretty far-fetched number to like pull from like the prison system. I mean, granted, there's probably a metric shit ton more prisoners in the world after like 11424, but like Yeah, that is kind of interesting. Like that, like they need that many numbers, and that they recycle the numbers. So maybe it is a virus. Maybe it is a memetic virus. Like maybe they just never change. Maybe they do never change it out.
You know what could be kind of even darker about this in a way? The reason that they cycle out the numbers is to make the D class feel not as bad about how many people they're killing.
You mean make the Foundation, or you mean make the D class feel better, like kind of placate the yeah, no, for sure. Yeah,
it's like, oh, there's probably only like 11,000 of us. Meanwhile, it's millions that they've just been cycling through, killing constantly.
Again, thus the true horror of the SCP Foundation is the Foundation itself. Humans, hell is other people. Wow, we've just stumbled upon like the human horror of the SCP Foundation.
Which is like kind of the creepiest horror in a lot of ways.
A lot of the time it is, yeah. It's the most relatable is the thing. So because we suck as a species.
We do. Just the worst.
Yep. Thank you, Mikey, for pointing out the flaws of humanity.
You're welcome. Anyway, that's the end of my actual thoughts.
All right. So, Gamer, you're up.
Okay. All right, so I get reading and talks about the rules, and then right from the get-go, it's like, of the 3 rules, D11424 was told before her induction as D-Class. Right from the get-go, I'm like, oh, so those stories that we read before were about her? I wasn't aware. Because, like, looking back, I don't remember if it specifically called out any sort of gender in the previous stories, like with the walrus and stuff.
It did, not in the walrus one, but in the rad painting one, we actually get a descriptor for the 2D class that had links.
Like visually?
Yeah. Give me a second. Okay. I'll pull it up.
I just couldn't remember any specific details about D11424.
Yeah, give me a second. I will quickly pull it up. And by quickly, I mean slowly.
Yep.
3435. Interview log. Okay. Yeah. 11424. A 29-year-old Hispanic man.
Oh, okay.
And then then it goes in like the other. Yeah, it gives the description like a brief, like that kind of a brief descriptor for all the other interviewees in that SCP. So
yeah. Okay. I just didn't remember that.
That's fair.
Yeah, like right
I was also confused when we first. Sorry, I was also kind of confused while when I started reading the story. I was like, oh wait, because I was like, I guess this is a different 11424. What the hell's going on? And then it explains it. Oh, okay. And like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was just in my headcanon. I immediately went with dude because I'm a dude.
Fair.
Or something. Either way.
You misogynist bastard.
Yeah, sure, that's what it is. So anyways. And then I get on to reading a bit more, and someone says, oh, my bad, it's nothing personal. Just didn't realize that number was up for recycling. Is what one of them said. Yeah. So when I read that, I'm like, oh, the hell? So this legend that has been created about the 11424 is just kind of fake now, is what I was thinking in the time.
Yeah, I know.
Basically, like each one could just be a different person now.
Yeah, I mean, like that part of it is kind of cool, but at the same time, I was also a little bit disappointed.
It's at that instance, building up this lore on this number, but with no real like anything that this person actually did. Like, did they actually survive that long? Did they actually do all these things, or are all these different 11424 stories all completely different people?
Yeah.
So, like, the whole allure of this dude just kicking ass and surviving kind of got shot right out the gate for me in this. Mm-hmm. Just from reading that, me coming to that assumption.
Sure.
With all my notes here, I color-coded them in green and, like, an orangey color, and put a +1 on the greens and a -1 on the oranges, because, like, I kept going Like yay, nay. Like literally all of my notes are plus, negative, like plus. Like it just
It was a roller
constantly goes
coaster
back
for
and
you.
forth. Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit of a roller coaster. You got some highs and some lows.
Yeah.
Aw, I'm
But
sorry.
yeah, at that point when I read that I was honestly checked out, but I kept reading anyways, of course, because that's what I do.
Fair.
And speaking of continuing reading, literally right after I read that, someone responds with, wait, what's so special about this guy? Oh, that's what 11424 said. And then someone responds saying 11424 was, well, he was a legend. I think he got called in for like 1,000 tests or something. And when I read that, I'm like, okay, well, you're on thin ice, story. I'm watching you.
Yeah, you got the two fingers like eye in the story.
Yeah, pretty much. And because it keeps doing that. There's something cool happens, and then something bad happens, and then, but like the reason that I was upset about that immediately gets answered in the next sentence.
Yeah,
It's really, really roller coaster.
it's almost like the story is a journey, gamer.
Kind of, I suppose.
No, I demand the entire story be told to me. Like all the cool stuff happen right at the get go, so I don't have to. So I'm not like disappointed by any. I don't have any sort of emotional journey whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's like when I read these stories, I don't read a whole paragraph and then go back and do notes on the sentences that I had questions about. I read a sentence. If I have a question about it, I write down my question, and then I continue reading. So, honestly, maybe I should change my reading and note-taking process to just read a paragraph and then take notes on that paragraph, because in this situation, I read a line and then the next line fixes it. And then it's like, okay, well, should I keep my previous information that I wrote down, my previous thoughts, or just wipe that out?
See, what I tend to do, I do that kind of on the like behind the curtain here for note taking for the cultist. While I'm reading the story, I will take notes, but then if something's answered like a paragraph later, I will erase that. I will just delete that note.
Okay, but here's the thing: if I did that, I would have no notes.
Well, that's why I have. Sometimes I will also do like just like an overarching like thing. It's like, yeah, this story was kind of like a zigzag. Like there were things that were given and things that were, but it was explained later. So it's like that kind of stuff. Like I would, like that's happened a couple times in stories for me. Like I've just had like, there's nothing, like the story's just good. So I like kind of go into like broad strokes of like why I like the story, or why there's like, or what I saw as a problem maybe in as the story, but like there's no specific spot because it fixes itself. So I just sort of like, yeah, no, it's kind of a roller coaster of emotion, because like it says one thing, but then it immediately fixes what I had a problem with.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, you know, like and sometimes like I think your setup works for you sometimes, but yeah, I think maybe like maybe doing it like broad strokes if you don't have any specific like notes like that are based off of a quote or something like that for the story, like might help better.
Well, this is really just the first story that I've come to this problem with, where it keeps undoing all of my notes, because normally there's something to still say about it. And granted, I've been saying a little bit about this, but not much really.
Yeah. It sounds like it's a good thing for the story, but also because it's like you're like, well, I guess I don't have a problem with this anymore, but I'm bitter about it.
Pretty much, but we'll see. Anyways, I got a couple more.
Yes.
So gets on mentioning how he got like his official nickname is 86 Screw You, and then again, because I stopped there and made a note, I am writing down saying, why are those his numbers? He's 11424. Why not 42 fuck you or something like that? You know.
Honestly, again, like we had this discussion earlier.
Yes, I know.
No. I just mean like, yeah, I was the same way, because I was like, why is he called 68 fuck you or 68 screw you? Like that makes no sense. Like that his numbers don't add up to that. Like it's like that would be really nice if we got that explanation. Like, am I missing something? And then I proceeded to copy and paste the the thing that answered that problem.
Yes. But then you also forgot that you even did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I was using it for another thing. I was using the quote for another reason. And I completely passed over the fact that it says that this is where he got his nickname.
Yeah. Anyways, my last note is oh yeah, okay. My last note is literally just what you said, because he says, how he actually got his nickname. He did this to 682, and then my note on that is, okay, stop immediately answering my questions after I ask them.
and the story is immediately, no, you.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, that's about it for my notes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the story pulled a 6-8 screw you.
Yeah.
I missed the first half of what you said. Whether what?
The story pulled a 6-8 screw you.
I don't get it.
Sort of like, it's like, no, stop doing it. It's like, no, you. Like, screw you.
I suppose.
Yeah. It was funnier in both our heads, I think.
Yeah.
I'm probably just
I got
frustrated and pissed off. It's fine.
Okay. Aw. Now I'm worried about the final thoughts.
You should be. You should be.
That's a great segue. So, yeah, on to my final thoughts. Well, for me, I loved it. I want more of these kind of stories. Like, it's not creepy, but much like the Joey Fucknut stories, it's got a lot of heart. So, I recommend this one. I really enjoyed reading it. Mikey, the E stands for evil.
All right. Well, it's a story. It's not very creepy.
I kind of wish you stopped it right there. Well, it's a story. It's got that. Sorry, go.
Yeah. It's not really creepy.
Mhm.
But it is better than most stories we get. So I'm at least giving this a partial recommendation because like I said in my actual thoughts, I feel like it'll be better once I have the source material for what they're referencing in all their many references. So partial recommendation on the high end.
Okay. And Gamer?
Oh, like I said in my notes, it was kind of a roller coaster ride where it's like, here's a good thing, then here's a bad thing, but then here's the bad thing already answered for you in the next sentence, so don't worry about it anymore. So that constantly happening throughout the entire story was a little annoying, honestly. But that aside,
how dare the story correct the problems it makes?
Immediately.
Sorry, I don't mean I am being kind of jokey about
I understand. I understand. Because realistically, that is how it would work. If that's his nickname, that's his nickname. And someone sitting down listening to this, they'd be like, "Oh, his nickname is 86 Screw You." And then, realistically, I would be like, if in a way, I kind of have to give it a little bit of immersion points because I feel like I was the new 11424 sitting there being like, "Wait, what? Why? Why is that his name?" I asked that, and then the story immediately asked that. So, if anything, that's a good thing, I guess.
I was gonna say, like it. You love immersion in these stories. Like you love to be immersed in these stories. So like this feeling that you hate should also be like something you love.
Yes. In the story, I felt like a woman that's a criminal and stuck as a D class. Yes.
This story made you feel things or like realize things about yourself.
Indeed. What? No. So what? Anyways, but yeah. So, like I said, the immersion of the story was good in that aspect. So I give it props for that. The whole roller coaster-y thingy isn't really a problem of the story. It's a problem of me having to take notes for the story.
Yeah.
So I can't really fault it for that because it's not it's not a frustrating story to read normally. It's only a frustrating story to read when you're taking notes.
For a podcast.
Yeah.
That's about talking about a story. And the way to do that, generally, is by taking notes on the story.
Yeah, so for those that are taking notes on this story for podcast reasons or otherwise, it gets a lower recommendation for those specific people. Ones that like to take notes sentence by sentence, specifically.
So
It's
if you have a book club, yeah,
very
for those of you who also have a creepypasta book club,
yeah. He gets a lower mark for that. But the story as it is, honestly, it's fine. It's fine the way it is. The note at the end, for some reason, when I said like there was a piece of paper under the pillow, I didn't imagine it to be an 8.5 by 11. So when I saw this huge block of text, I'm like, how tiny is this guy writing? But
have you? I know you haven't seen Carnage or Let There Be Carnage yet, but there's a scene where how's the guy who is Carnage, the redhead dude?
Cletus Cassidy?
Cletus, yeah, Cletus Cassidy.
I remember that?
Holy shit! Well, you are a fan of the Venom series, I think, right?
Not, I don't know, maybe.
I thought you were.
Bit.
Anyway. There's a scene where he's like writing writing a postcard to Eddie Brock, and it is a long ass story that he is writing like in very small small words, like in a spiral along the border going inward.
Oh, that's frustrating as hell. You have to like constantly move it, like turn it,
and it's partially it's partially poetry and like cryptic.
Yeah, of course.
So it's like even more frustrating. And then there's like a spider like goes onto it, and he like squashes it. So there's also like spider guts on the fucking on the words too.
Oh god.
It's just so fucking So like that's like you were visualizing like that kind of like small little like note paper.
Yes. Basically, that's what I envisioned. But after I thought that, I zoomed my brain out and looked at it. I'm like, okay, this is actually formatted in the shape of an 8.5 by 11. So it's an 8.5 by 11 folded in half, is what it is. Yeah,
I think your problem, and I'm not like trying to like poke fun at you or anything like that. Honestly, I think I just mean like I think like the problem here is that like, because we do the show and that you have to take notes, like you tunnel vision hard.
Yeah.
And so you don't get the like you don't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
Cuz like I basically load up a sentence into the RAM of my brain. I analyze that sentence and then take notes on that sentence for better or for worse, and then discharge that sentence from my brain and move on.
Yeah, every sentence is air gapped.
Yeah.
There's nothing around this sentence.
No, not at all.
That is not a way to read a story, sir.
That's also me being critically silly about it, but yes.
Yeah, true, yeah. You are being incredibly critically silly, but yeah, that is definitely not the way to read a story.
No, not at all.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sorry, my recommendation is going on forever here. But the prison scene, it had good visualizations to it, even though no one was really described visually. But I still had like a rough kind of visual for each person, just depending on how they were talking and all that.
Yeah. So
it went well. I agree with you. The note at the end hits you in the feels, and it's kind of cool. I do wonder if, and I agree with Mikey, like I wonder if there is some sort of potential SCP-ness. That sounds weird. Going on with this this title.
Yeah.
And if it's just transferred over.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant the title of the story, not the title of the mantle of like 11424.
I meant mantle, yes.
Yeah.
I hate how there's so many words for the same thing. I hate the English language.
Yeah, we know.
But overall, honestly, I enjoyed it, so I'll recommend it.
Man, that much like the story, that final thought was a roller coaster.
Yeah,
I was like, oh no, he's like talking about like how much it's a roller coaster. And he got really annoyed and how he's pissed off right now. Oh man, is he gonna hate this?
No.
Hey, Mikey, he likes it. He likes it.
Wow.
Sorry. Okay, so 2.5 out of 3 is what I'm kind of getting. Like 2 full recommendations and 1 mostly positive partial.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
The only thing that bugs me, just
Mhm.
one little extra
Yeah.
tirade here, is the whole renaming process. I don't understand why they do that.
Like the renumbering or the recycling of the
Yeah.
number. I think it could just be
Kinda
like
talks about it, but I just don't
Yeah.
understand. That's one thing
I
in the
mean,
story that would lower its points for me, basically.
well,
Everything
okay,
else is fine, but that's weird.
like I do agree with you. It's like, yeah, like they have these all these like high numbers and stuff like that. Like, why don't they just keep using numbers? The other thing is like though, like if the recycling also makes sense from like from a like the whole like from a bureaucratic system sort of point of view, because like, well, if they lose one of them, they just go into it like they're just going to discard that number. Like,
Yeah, I guess they'd have to rename the cell and like get
yeah,
different
like so
prison attire made up specifically for them with new numbers on it.
yeah, so I feel like, and again, this is also an issue is like D11424, like that's a really high number that whoever the person that worked who first came up with D11424, probably the person who wrote 3435, which I'm thinking is where William or maybe Schubert or one. Again, this is sort of the issue of like having like it's not a bad problem, but it's just sort of like an incongruity issue when it comes to like a writing community that's writing from the same like canon. Is like there has to be a cap. I would think in a functional reality there has to be a cap to the D class numbering system, and then whenever they lose a D class number, they just have somebody fill in that slot.
Yeah, it does make sense because
Yeah.
like the cells are all numbered and everything. They'd have to be printing out new plates and everything. So
also, yeah, and numerically, like they wouldn't just abandon that spot or put in a new number in that plaque, because that would be hella confusing from an accounting point of view, like from a ledger.
You're trying to find specifically this guy, but like
Yeah.
the numbers are constantly skipping. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like, hey, where's 350256? Oh, I think he's between 11424 and
37.
4 and 37. Yeah, it's like, oh, thanks. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's exactly the problem there.
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous. And I mean, you know what? The foundation's fucked up and stupid sometimes. So, but I don't think they're that fucked up and stupid. I think they're compromised in a lot of ways. But I think the bureaucratic hellscape includes the fact that like they have a capped number system and they fill in those slots, both to kind of like help morale of the D class, but also to like show like the hellscape that is being D class.
I do really wonder the layout of this facility now. If it's like, because depending on how tall or maybe deep, if this is all underground, this facility is,
or if it's even in physical reality, it could just be like in Chicago they have 2 prisons in the downtown core. They do not look like prisons; they look like office buildings.
Yes.
They are facaded as office buildings, like they have fake windows and what have you. But it is a prison that is a building, an office building.
It is weird.
So it's like pull that idea, but like use the SCP Foundation element of it. So like it's just like a strip mall, like it looks like a strip mall that's currently constantly being renovated, or just like it's just closed off and like for sale but sold sort of situation. But then you walk inside and it's like a massive like interdimensional structure, like the oldest house in the video game Control, where it's this giant like block building. But when you go in, it's even bigger on the inside. It's like a TARDIS.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was wondering if you were talking about a TARDIS situation.
Yeah, in the oldest house, like it's just this it's this big blocky building, like it's brutalist architecture in Manhattan. And then when you go in, you find out that it is way bigger in the inside, because it's basically like an analog for like Yggdrasil, the World Tree.
Of course.
Yeah, or at least there's like that's kind of the imagery it invokes, or like it's like some of the sort of like parallels it invokes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But yeah, that's honestly like it could be that like it's basically like the layout of this prison. It could be like it looks like a regular prison, but it just has way too many levels.
Yeah, and what I was trying to get at from starting all that is I'm curious how it's leveled out. If it's like the first 1,000 people are on floor 1, and then floor 2, then 2,000 to 2,999 is on floor 2. Like, there's just that many levels. Like there's 11, 12, maybe even 20 levels deep of this facility.
Yeah, it could be. I think maybe like, I mean, personally, I think there would be a cap. I would probably go with like 20 or like 20, like the 20 or the 200,000 range of like people that are that
okay,
they
I was
use.
just talking about floors. I thought you're like,
yeah,
okay, that many
sorry.
floors, really?
Yeah, no, I would say like probably like 20 floors of like 10,000 or something like that, maybe.
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah. So I think that's unless someone else has other things they need to say, I have said all that needs to be said.
I don't think I have anything else I wanted to say. Mikey, do you have anything?
I'm good.
Okay. But yeah, so I guess that'll be this week's episode. So if you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas or SCPs or spooky things. You creep it, we'll peep it.
Hell yeah.
That is our new motto.
It's such a terrible motto, but it's terrible on purpose.
Yeah, we're sticking with it.
Hell yeah.
Much like all the other things that we've done, we're gonna keep at it. But you can also talk to us on Twitter. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without that W because his name is very long.
Yeah, it's got to be though.
Fair.
It's a bit at this point. I literally can't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm at Review Cultist. And if you'd like to help our show financially, you can go to Patreon and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at Al Dente Rigamortis. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, early access, extra content. For our patrons that are helping support the show, thank you guys so much. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay. And as always, we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories, thank you guys immensely, because without your listenership, it would be like screaming into the void of silence, and I'd be sad. And if it wasn't for your stories, your SCP entries, your creepypastas, for us to cuddle up with at night at 3 a.m. and read and get spooked or otherwise, like get teary-eyed from a heartfelt letter between 2 D-class members, we really wouldn't have much of a show because we'd have nothing to talk about. We wouldn't be talking about this for an hour or so.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.